Welcome to This is a Dream, where does my dream come true? To talk with dream researchers, lucid dreamers, and other experts in the field of dream work. My mission is to share the magic of dreaming with you. Magic happens when we learn to become an active participant with the dreaming mind. The guests I interview on this show help me bring this magic to you. Today, I'm joined by Eric Spirko, a sleep and dream coach who helps people reclaim rest, unlock creativity, and use dreams for tools for growth. Through his night school community and meditations, he blends science with mindfulness to help you experience the magic of sleep and dreams as well. Eric, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Jason.
All right, let's dive right in. I want to start by asking what got you interested in sleep and dreams and what led you to create night school?
I think I was interested in dreams as long as I could remember. Some of my earliest memories are from dreams that I had as a kid. That continued on into high school. I remember I had a really wonderful experience with some classmates. My senior year of high school, we would all gather first period and discuss our dreams, and it brought a group of friends who really wouldn't be friends outside of that particular environment. It was a really interesting way for us to connect across social groups. And so we'd come and we talk about dreams. And then in college, I had a lucid dream that was really impactful and powerful and was something that I didn't even know was possible. And that set me on a path of reading about it and practicing it, learning to navigate the space, and ultimately having this feeling, this calling to bring it to other people.
And yeah, I wonder, that lucid dream you had in college, did it just spontaneously happen, or were you incubating it or trying to do it?
It was spontaneous. Yeah. And frankly, I didn't even know it was that you could do that. I woke up and I was like, wait, I can be aware while I'm dreaming, and had to look it up on the internet and learned it was a lucid dream. Bought my first book, First of Many by Stephen LaBerge. And that was a nice launching point for learning how to replicate it, how to incubate them, and then how to extend them and explore the space and some of the potential that exists in that environment.
It sounds that you were able to connect with friends and community through sharing dreams, and that's something that I really love, to bring dreams forth and talk about them with other people, and in a space where people honor dreams as well. It's cool that you had that in college kind of community.
Yeah.
So I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about how your dreams, your lucid dreaming, and how that transformed into your practice that you share now with your night school community, and how you got started with that.
Yeah, I think I kind of backed into lucid dreaming as a meditative practice. And like I mentioned, I was really interested in dreams. I was interested in lucid dreaming, and for a stretch it was just something fun. It was kind of like a party trick. Oh, I can fly, I can do these fun things and explore the space. But I don't think I really encountered the profundity of it until my late 20s. And learned that it was a way to actually work with the mind and help understand the nature of reality. Some of those early books that I read kind of pointed towards it, but I wasn't really ready for it. And then in my 30s, I came across the work of Andrew Holacek. Actually, was really inspiring for me. It kind of was a way to translate some of these practices that come from really ancient traditions in Tibet and make it a little bit more relevant to my experience. And I think at that point, it was this interesting piece of blending mindfulness with performance. I grew up as an athlete as well, and so seeing this convergence of sleep being really important to athletics and performance, mindfulness being really well accepted as a performance tool that athletes are using to become more familiar with their mind and how it works and how to optimize it for performance. And then also this piece that isn't really talked about too much, which is that experience of dreaming. And my mission is to bring that awareness and make more folks that are kind of already have those two pieces in place, to allow them to explore the dream as a way to also bring mindfulness into the night.
Yeah, I love the idea of bringing mindfulness into the night, and exploring as you said, the profundity of dreams and lucid dreaming beyond just, you mentioned, the party trick or flying. And I think a lot of us, when we start lucid dreaming, naturally tend to gravitate towards that side of things, of kind of like wish fulfillment. And I think it was Freud that posited that dreams are mostly like wish fulfillment type things that happen to us. But Andrew Alchek, you mentioned, and he's one of my mentors and guides as well. And I love the Tibetan dream yoga tradition. Bringing mindfulness into the practice is so important in my opinion. And I looked a bit more on your website too, and I saw that you help with sleep as well, not only with dreams, but optimizing sleep routines and sleep hygiene and sleep health and stuff. So I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about that and the importance of honoring the sleep as well.
Yeah, of course. And it's interesting you mentioned Andrew too, because I think like there's a fine balance between, at least in my own practice, of like being super rigid and only reserving the dream space as something that needs to be like this deep, profound. Yeah, I think I kind of overcorrected at one point. It was really wish fulfillment and just fun. And then I'm like, oh no, I need to honor the dream and be like really hyper focused on spirituality and growth. And like, you can kind of have both, right? You can become lucid and you can fly around for a little bit. You can explore the space with like curiosity and wonder. And also that can be a launching pad and a way to also integrate and co-create the space and find some like happy medium between really being too serious about it. That's the thing I like about Andrew. He's just like playful and fun and like, hey, we can have fun and we can also explore it as something deeper. And so, of course, like in order to have lucid dreams, you have to sleep well. You have to get the sleep that you need. So you need to prioritize sleep. You need to make sure that you're not cutting your sleep short and having those longer REM periods at the end of the night where many people tend to have most of their lucid dreams. I work, like I said, with athletes, and so working with a team, people are coming from all different starting points. There are some people who maybe have like sleep trackers and are really invested in their sleep, and there's some people that just either don't believe it or have really poor habits and have, a lot of work to be done just to like get the sleep that they need. And so a lot of the work that I do is just kind of educating around habits and how consistency can be a really important piece for not laying in bed and staring at the ceiling, unable to fall asleep. Learning how to explore the liminal state a little bit, how to use this practice of yoga nidra, which is really just mindfulness of the transition into sleep, right? It's just paying attention to that experience of falling asleep and becoming familiar with that doorway into sleep, and tools for regulating the nervous system. Like, it's hard to sleep if you don't feel safe. It's hard to sleep if you don't know how to shift off your mind and shift off your anxiety. And so learning how to shift your nervous system into a state of rest and relaxation is another thing that I work with my students with. It's sometimes a tricky balance of like addressing a group of people, because sleep is so individual. Everybody kind of has their own unique struggle with it or unique goal with it. But I try to, find a way for everybody to, at least on the teams that I work with, to have a common goal, which usually is like, hey, let's just like agree that this is important. Let's put in place one or two things that are really, really easy to achieve with discipline, like waking up at the same time, and then go from there.
Yes, I love the yoga nidra, sleep yoga you mentioned is one of my practices, and I incorporate that with lucid dreaming. And one technique that's pretty common in the lucid dream world is wake-induced lucid dreaming, and yoga nidra is kind of like the Eastern term for that similar practice, because it involves body scans and you could use breath work. And I just wonder, can you talk a little, what is yoga nidra, and what are some ways that people could start practicing if they listen to this? What if they could start incorporating some of those methods, if they already are a lucid dreamer, if they're not, or if they're interested in yoga nidra in general? How could they get started?
For sure. Yeah. So yoga nidra is a meditation on the moment of falling asleep. One way that many people come across it is in a yoga studio. Like, I have a yoga teacher that practices this in my local studio. It's like a 20-minute session after a session of yoga. You just lay down and you listen to the instructions, and the person, usually it's guided. You can learn to do it and guide yourself, but kind of, if we're talking about how you begin the practice, usually listening to a recording, listening to a teacher guide you into this transitional state between sleeping and dreaming. And like you mentioned, it often begins with a body scan, noticing different parts of your body, and essentially you put the body to sleep, but the mind remains awake. And so you're kind of resting in this first stage of sleep, this liminal state. Sometimes you fall asleep, and that's okay. But often, the practice is ideally done where you are still paying attention, you're still aware, maintaining an awareness while you're in this liminal state between sleeping and waking. It's got incredible benefits on the nervous system. And again, for folks who struggle to fall asleep at night, knowing what that process is like, knowing what that doorway looks like leading into sleep can be a huge benefit by allowing you to pass through that more efficiently when you go to sleep at night. So I'd recommend people search for it, try some teachers out, see what works for you. You can do it for 10 minutes, you can do it for 30 minutes, you can do it for an hour. There's a lot of resources out there, and I think a lot of it is just kind of finding a teacher that you resonate with and can put you into that state and guide you into that journey.
Yes, and do you have any of your own guided walkthroughs of that practice that people can access?
I do have a Yoga Nidra in my profile and Insight Timer. So if you just search for my name, Eric Spirko, there's a few free guided Yoga Nidra meditations as well. And sometimes I do lives on that platform as well. So if anybody's got that app, one of the more popular meditation apps out there, you can find me and you can check out those recordings and follow me there, and you'll be notified when I have some live sessions as well.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. When you have students come to you and they start getting into sleep and dreams, what are some of the biggest, most frequent challenges that come up for them? And how do you work through them?
Yeah, I think with dreams, I always try to stress to students that I work with and that it's a long-term practice. And as much as you can have that long-term view, you understand that you may have pockets and periods where you have dips in motivation, you have dips in discipline and in dream recall. But remembering that with mindfulness, you can always start again. It's always a nice opportunity to begin again. Every night we have this opportunity. And so I think patience, people can find. I think I saw a video on your profile of you get on YouTube and people sell lucid dreaming as something you can accomplish tonight with these 3 steps, and it's unrealistic. Maybe you become lucid, and that's great. And there are people that you work with that have really quick success, and it's fantastic. And also after that success, it might be a gap, and there may be periods where it feels like you're not having success. And so kind of redefining what success is, and also honoring the non-lucid dreams. If there's so much, and I do this myself, I put a lot of weight on my lucid dreams, and if they don't come, then I find myself striving for that and not paying attention to what's being spoken in my non-lucid dreams. So I think that's an important piece too, to also not necessarily prioritize becoming lucid. It's a great opportunity. It's a beautiful state of mind to explore, and also honoring those non-lucid dreams and just really paying attention to what's happening at night, regardless of our level of awareness, can be a help on the path.
It's so important to have patience, consistency with practice, and to not get down and hard on yourself when lucid dreaming takes time, takes work, it takes effort. And there are practices like you mentioned, Yoga Nidra and mindfulness, that benefit you as a whole being, that even if you don't end up having lucid dreams, just doing those practices can really be very beneficial for you. Like you mentioned, that Yoga Nidra can help with sleep quality, regardless of whether or not that practice leads to lucid dreams. I want to get into a little more detail about why is it that you've said that non-lucid dreams are just as important as your lucid dreams, or you value them just as much. Can you talk a little bit about why that is?
Yeah, I think in that context, it's about this idea of striving for an experience, and I think honoring non-lucid dreams can be a guardrail against that, of only valuing this experience of lucidity. I think our non-lucid dreams can contain really valuable insights. You just look at the history of some of most prolific inventors and people who have created really beautiful art, people who have created really incredible businesses and sport, like they were really all inspired by non-lucid dreams. And so there is that opportunity for creativity. There is that opportunity for problem solving. Our dreaming mind is wired to have these functions, to also process these emotions that we experience on a daily basis. And so honoring that our dreaming mind is working for us whether we are lucid or not, I think is an important piece. And yeah, I think it's just trying to avoid against like this tendency of only placing importance, and I'm speaking from like personal experience in this, because I find myself falling into this trap of if I haven't been lucid for a while, then like my practice is suffering. When no, like I'm still dreaming, and that's an opportunity to check in with myself. Am I still journaling? Am I still like reflecting on and listening to what's happening in these non-lucid dreams? And maybe what's happening there is a signal for why I'm not becoming lucid. Maybe there's something being said there. And also just like having some fun with it. There's always those moments where like an opportunity to become lucid presented itself, and it's like, man, how did I not know? Just kind of with some playfulness, appreciating those obvious misses and just laughing about it.
Yeah, so there's valuable insights that come from non-lucid dreams and creativity and problem solving, inspiration. Yeah, I love that you mentioned how a lot of the world's inventions and people tend to get, resolution for their things that they're preoccupied with consciously, things that they want to have answers to. And sometimes the best way to get answers when you're stuck up on a problem is to sleep on it, as they say, sleep on it. And that's when the dreams can come and help you. If you can look at it through the lens of this dream is coming to support me in some way. Even those ones that can be like disturbing or nightmarish and that sort of thing. Can we talk about that a little bit? Do you have students that bring those kinds of extremely disturbing and nightmare dreams? How do you navigate with those kinds of dreams?
Yeah, for those situations, I don't think there's enough awareness in our culture of what a nightmare is and what a nightmare is feeling. For me, it's always about like reframing a nightmare, and like this is taken from Charlie Morley's work, that a nightmare is a sign of a healing mind, and appreciating that emotional processing of that the dreaming mind is built to do is what's happening. That there's nothing wrong with this person, that there's opportunity in this nightmare, and even finding a lens of gratitude, of thanking your dreaming mind for doing this work. And I think we see it as something that is something to like avoid, something that we want to kind of shut away and pretend is not happening. And the more that we can accept it, the more that we can welcome it, even the more likely we are to build that relationship, grow that relationship with our dreaming mind, and allow that particular, whatever that nightmare is attempting to resolve, attempting to process, allow it to play itself out, as opposed to what's oftentimes happened is that we wake up from it and the process is incomplete. And that's why nightmares repeat. It's kind of like broken record theory of like that process has not run its course, and so it goes back to it. And then we wake up and that goes back to it. So like the more that and then the power of lucidity in that is really, really transformative. If we can, instead of run from our nightmares, if we can cultivate the opportunity to notice, to become aware when a nightmare is happening and confront it, or ask a question of it, or send love to it. It's one of the most powerful experiences I've personally experienced, and students that I've worked with as well, and can totally transform our relationship with that nightmare.
Yes, transforming nightmares has been kind of the biggest benefit that I've noticed for myself for lucid dreaming. And I used to have so many, like most of my dreams were either complete nightmares or just anxiety dreams and disturbing in some way or another. And yeah, I never got into paying attention to non-lucid dreams until I learned that it's possible to have more of an active participation in the dreams. And because, well, you mentioned that it's important in a nightmare to let it come to a resolution, but you also mentioned the lucid aspect of it. And so I wonder, like, is there a balance to strike between like letting the dream play out naturally as a resolution, even in the disturbing parts of it, versus how much you would go in and change it or rewrite the narrative through realizing that it's a dream whilst it's happening. And so like, yeah, basically like what's the guidance around how much do you want to control and manipulate the outcome of it versus how much is it important to let it be as it is?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think it's a balance, right? I think one of the really powerful things about lucidity is it gives you some agency. It gives you some ability to shape your own actions within the dream as well as the environment, but also respecting that there is this deeper awareness, this deeper dreamer that's like going to keep you in check and has a lot more power than your waking egoic consciousness oftentimes appreciates. And so I think it's, sometimes it's kind of a give and take. Like your waking egoic consciousness that is the dream avatar can sometimes overstep their bounds, and the dreaming consciousness will respond and or not, and not allow you to do something that you think that you want. And so sometimes it's a little bit of like testing those boundaries. I think there's always like, understanding this word control and understanding that it is not dream control, that it's a co-creative experience along with this deeper dreaming consciousness. That everything that your dream avatar, waking consciousness does in a dream offers a response from the dream, and there is this dance that happens in a lucid dream. And so those are a few things that come to mind. And also, like, when you talk about letting it play out, within reason. Like if something is really disturbing in a lucid dream, then like it's okay to run. It's okay because there's levels of lucidity too, right? Like if it's easier to do this if you're in a hyper lucid dream, if you're so certain that this is a dream and you have this level of like confidence and control and clarity, versus you're just like, I know this is a dream, but I still can't really do much about it. It can be more challenging to confront these difficult dream experiences in those kind of like semi-lucid or just barely lucid states. So it's being kind to yourself. It's pushing yourself where you can, and also being gentle when you need to step back and something. And I think also knowing that your dreaming mind has kind of that same approach, that it's not going to throw things at you that they're not ready for. That what it presents you with is a gesture of love and awareness, and it has your best interest at heart, even if you can't like decipher why that's in your best.
It is strange sometimes to go into a lucid dream and have a plan of what you want to do or how you want to manipulate it, and then have the dreaming mind kind of throw you for a loop. I mean, that's happened so many times for me and a lot of people who've shared their lucid dream experiences. There's kind of a ego perception or idea that we can have full control as soon as we're in the dream because it's our mind, like we should be able to, right? But I mean, if you meditate and you're into mindfulness and that sort of thing, then you know that the contents of your mind are unpredictable, and things pop in and pop out, and it's very difficult to ever control what goes on in there, so I think that even though the dream is from contents of our mind, it's nearly impossible to control every aspect of it. There's an element of humility that is important with lucid dreaming. For me, it makes it more exciting, because if I was able to go in and like really just know exactly what's going to happen, it would be like an environment that becomes less unpredictable. I think it's cool that we go into that world where it can surprise us. And I think Robert Wagner has a lucid dreaming technique where you go in your lucid dream and you just say something to the dreaming mind, and it could be as simple as surprise me or inspire me or show me something inspiring, and just shout it out to the dream. And then just see what happens. And I mean, that's something really cool to try if you're interested in seeing the spontaneity and unpredictable nature of your mind and what it'll show you. Do you have any? I wonder if you could share like an experience of that nature, of how a lucid dream kind of surprised you.
Of course, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of them. And that's so beautifully said too. Robert Wagner was a really important person whose work really kind of transformed my lucid dreaming experience from something that's just kind of wish fulfillment into something that's much deeper. In terms of my own like surprise experiences, sometimes I think my deeper dreaming consciousness kind of likes to mess with me sometimes, or like just keep me in check, like we're talking about here, but in like a little bit of a sarcastic way. And I don't have the exact dream at the top of mind, but I remember a lot of my dreams happen in my childhood home, as happens to many of us. And I became lucid, and I was walking into the living room, and I had some plan that I was working on, and I shouted it to the dream. And I don't know if you played, I don't know how old you are, if you ever played Duck Hunt growing up. There's like, basically it's this game, it was a pretty cool game. It was kind of like what it sounds like. You have this little toy gun and you're shooting at the screen trying to shoot these ducks. But if you miss them, then there's this like very distinct song that plays. And I just asked for the dream for something, and it just played this like rejection song from Duck Hunt, which I haven't played in like probably 30 years. And I'm like, where did that come from? Where did that song, that's buried so deeply somewhere, and like it just didn't, it wasn't even really like a grand thing that I was asking from the dream. It was just kind of like, no, not tonight, my friend. So I was just like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Did it lead to any like insights, or it was just kind of like a weird like, why was that?
Yeah, no, it was just, it was really like no concrete insights. It was more just like kind of the humility piece. It's like,
Yeah.
I can go in with a plan, and maybe it'll receive this plan, and maybe it won't. And just kind of like on to the next one. I think having I think that's one of the reasons that I sometimes I kind of have like the mind of a goldfish with like and I think it can be good for mindfulness sometimes too, is to let it go and move on to the next one. And I think that's useful for dream practice sometimes too, is to not get hung up on previous experiences and get attached to them. But yeah, it was just kind of like, all right, well, I guess we'll try again.
Well, that brings up a question I have for you, like just general dreams, whether they be lucid or non-lucid, when it does feel like there's some like, message or something that it was trying to share with you. How do you go about discerning what that might be?
It's a great question. Personally, I'm not really great at like interpreting non-lucid dreams. I don't really do that much, although I did actually just like run into I had some time to kill yesterday, and I went into a bookstore and found this like really interesting dream dictionary. I don't really do much of that, but it was from like the Islamic mystical tradition, and I thought it was just like a fun way to kind of mix in some other, another tradition into that has a tradition of dream practice. And if I have like a big dream, and maybe try to pick out some words and see what they mean. But I can't say that anything real recent is just like a non-lucid dream that I'm like, oh, that's a message, I know what that means. Unfortunately.
I've heard that the process, the emotional processing, like you said, that dreams does, it does it whether or not you like put words to it. Have you ever heard of Catherine Bell of experiential dream work?
No.
Her approach is just to like, let yourself experience the dream, because the dream is our emotional, like our regulation and processing tool. So yeah, maybe it's not that important that we like come to intellectualize, or that can even get in the way. For me, that's probably something that like gets in the way of like letting myself feel the dream.
Yeah, so, yeah, I hear you. I'm sure it's a fine balance too, because there could be things that I miss because I do just kind of just like trust that it's doing its own job. I can think of scenarios though where like when we're talking about the nightmare transformation and like this, some of the more transformative experiences I've had have been like embracing shadow material in a lucid dream and experiencing this like feeling of integration and resolution and bliss. And I wake up in the morning and I enjoy this like feeling of wholeness. I don't really go back and say like, oh, I wonder what that represented. Like, what was that shadow element? What was I repressing that showed up? And like, for me, it's just like, whatever it was, it's whole, and I don't necessarily need to understand it in order to like receive the benefits from it. I think there's some people that like want to know and could find some value in knowing and exploring that.
That's one thing I love about dream work in general is that, there's so many different perspectives, different ways and lens to go about interacting with your dream world. And for each different kind of person, you can find somebody that really resonates deeply with you and your mind and how you work and how you want to work with your dreams. And so for people who want these practices and tools and techniques to help optimize their sleep and, learn how to, even if they're not intellectualizing it or like thinking about what the meaning was behind their dream, but like literally working with the energies. It seems like your practice is like alchemy, like alchemizing the energy of the dream and making it so that it benefits you, your life and your sleep, your well-being. So thank you so much for everything you've shared. I feel blessed to have talked with you today and to share this with the listeners. And if there's one more simple shift or simple practice that a listener could take with them to improve their dream sleep life, what would you like to leave us with today?
Yeah, it's related to what you were just saying, and it's something that kind of had me thinking about this like individual. Everybody is like an individual and has their own unique practice, and like at some point you have to become your own teacher and like trust yourself to be able to know what's best for your own path in exploring your dreams, because it's just you in there, right? Nobody else can really, people, you can share a dream with somebody else, you can enjoy a community that's interested in the topic, and that's really valuable, dream sharing and getting people to help you think from different perspectives about what a dream might be trying to tell you, and also learning your own particular proclivities, understanding the landscape of your own dreaming mind and charting your own course, because there are so many different sources you can pull from and be inspired by, and just having fun with it. Like it's fun. It's ridiculous. It's a really ridiculous thing that we just kind of go into this state that is accessible to us every night, and has so much power for creativity and self transformation. I love it. I'm incredibly happy that that there's a community of people and that it's growing in interest, and people like yourself are spreading the message of really what we have access to. And so thank you for having me. I really appreciate your thoughtful questions, and it's been really fun speaking with you, Jason.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. Thanks for helping to share the magic of sleep and dreams with us and with your night school community. And sweet dreams until next time I see you.
Yeah, likewise, Jason. Sweet dreams. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.